I'm a lifelong servant, and one of my ministries was going into all of the prison systems in Maryland. I would go into the prison systems for 25 years and I would speak to the inmates. So me and a group of guys who used to go into each prison. And when the inmates came home, I would mentor them. I would go and I would have dinner with them or have lunch or whatever. And I would map out a plan for them. This is what we're going to attack. This is what we're going to deal with. This is what you got to stay away from. This is how you get what you have to do to get on your feet. Some listened, some didn't. I remember I was asked to speak in one of the prisons in front of the governor. It's funny because I was in there and I messed up the speech. To be honest with you. I messed up the speech because there was a guy that was in front of me while I was speaking. He was going up in his nose and it just threw the whole speech off. But nevertheless, his mother had invited me to come to his welcome home party and I said I would come. He got out at 3 o'clock. She said that the party starts at 6. Can I be there by 6? I said, sure, I would be there by 6 o'clock. I get there at around 5:30-ish. And keep in mind, I had been pouring into him for years. Brother Cook, when I come home, I'm going to do this. When I come home, I'm doing that. And I'm mapping out in my mind these plans and so on and so forth. I got everything set up for him. I got him a job. All of these things. One of the conversations that we had during his incarceration was that nobody came to see him, that he took care of everybody while he was home and he looked out for everybody, but nobody came to see him. Nobody wrote him any letters. Nobody sent him any commissary money. Nobody sent him any clothes or anything. Nobody came to visit him. At 5:30, I get there and people started trickling in. They had fried chicken. I don't eat chicken, but they had fried chicken. His mother had green beans, mashed potatoes, a whole spread. There was all of these people with whom that was from the neighborhood waiting for his arrival. And in my mind, I'm like, well, nobody ever came to see him. Nobody sent him any money. Nobody wrote him. None of that. The only person that was there for him was his mother. So where did all of these other people come from? So his mother had me stationed in the back. So I would be the last person that he would see. So I'm in the back. You have all of these people in the front and they got bottles on bottles. They got alcohol for days. Unbeknownst to me, he was going to be a little late. So I decided to stick there. You're not going to believe what happened. He comes through the front door. The door is pitch black and they comes to the front door. They flip the light on. He's only been out. I told you he got it at 3 o'clock. In his hand, his right hand, there was a bottle of E&J, a fifth of E&J. In his left hand was a bag of I don't know, cannabis that was so large, unbelievable. And the same thing with the bag. There was a bottle of Crown Royal. He makes his way, speaks to everybody. And then he saw me and he's like, oh man, Brother Cook, I'm sorry. After that, him and I overlooked that and I would call him to check on him and see when we can hang out so that we can map our plan out and get him started, as I've always done with the other individuals. When I called him, where you at, bro? I'm at the bar. So I called him, where you at, bro? I'm chilling. And then I had to come to the realization this was his reality. And so many of us, this is where we struggle at because we're so busy fighting against the person instead of realizing that we're actually fighting reality. Somebody is showing you this is who I am. This is what I'm into. This is the life that I want to live. And that's their reality. But the problem that we have is that instead of accepting the evidence, we want to fight against it. They shouldn't be doing that. That's not how they're supposed to be. They should know better. Do you realize how much the word should has destroyed a lot of people's peace? Yeah, it's destroyed a lot of people's peace. Why? Because you're not dealing with the person that's really in front of you. You're dealing with the belief of that person that should be in front of you. And the problem that a lot of people have is that they keep trying to negotiate with reality. Oh, they did me dirty. They did me wrong. And to be honest with you, a lot of us aren't exhausted by what somebody actually did to us, but your exhaustion comes from trying to force reality to apologize for being reality. Yeah, there's 3 ways in dealing with difficult people. Yeah, and I want to offer them up is stage one of trying to deal with difficult people is that you try to change them. You argue with them. You fight with them. You teach them to do right. You're trying to convince them to do right. The second stage is that you get angry when they don't want to do it. You go up in your mind and you say, "Oh, I try to do right by them. I know they know better. I taught them better." Or you know how our mother used to do for us with us. You want to do as I say, do as I say, not as I do, and all of that. And when I grew up, if you ain't do right, your mother made you go out there and get that switch. And I used to go back and bring this little switch, and she's like, "Go back out there and get a bigger one." You know what I mean? And then it came to the third stage. This is the reality. It comes to a point where if you really want your peace, you accept it as reality and then you just put it in God's hands. The third stage is just accepting as some things you don't have the capacity to deal with. You don't have the power. You don't have it in you. Jesus tells the disciples come to Jesus and they say to him, we did everything to try to cast this demon out, but it took Jesus to come in. I'm saying to you, there are some things that only God can deal with. You don't necessarily have to, you don't necessarily have to accept it as reality, but you have to stop fighting it in your flesh. You know, I'm telling you, if you know, when you try to force people to be somebody that you don't have the power to change them to be, then it turns into anger. You become mad at them, and people don't know that anger then becomes grief, and then you get mad because it's like, you know, you wanted them to understand you, that you wanted them to know that you only wanted the best for them. And there's disappointment that's in. And then you walking around in your disappointment, you walking around in your grief, and you're like, well, why couldn't they just be the person that I wanted them to be? Or why couldn't they just let me help them? I'm telling you, the deeper truth is that some people can genuinely love you, but some people don't have the capacity to love you the way you need to be loved. And once you understand that reality, you'll stop fighting reality and let God change the person. That person may not be meant to be in your life. Sometimes God's way is just to strip them, make you leave them alone. I don't know. But hopefully this bless you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Part 2 coming up. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with as many people as possible. Let's go.